Hi, my name is Alex, and welcome to part 2 of building a very simple operating system. At this point, you should have your builds of GCC and bin utils. If you're opening up a new terminal, you will need to export these variables again. In this tutorial, we'll be creating 3 files, boot.s, kernel.c, and linker.ld. I provided these files in the GitHub link below. However, if you wish to code with me, that's just fine too. As always, I recommend viewing the web page version of this tutorial at this link here. It can provide a much more detailed explanation than I ever could. Alright, so let's get right into boot.s. So the whole purpose of boot.s is to set up a kernel entry point that also sets up processes' environments. So in here we're just going to declare some constants, magic and checksum, flags, memory info, and alignment. And you can kind of consider these as special numbers, magic numbers here. Cool. Alright, so we're going to declare some more magic numbers. The only thing that I can really talk about is the alignment. So everything's in like 8 bits, but we need to make sure those bits are aligned correctly. So that's what align 4 does. It will align 4 of those 8 bits, which is a 32-bit machine. Anyway, so in this point here, we the multi-boot standard does not actually define the value of the stack pointer register. So we're going to define the stack, top and bottom. We'll make it a 16 kilobyte stack. Alright, so in the linker file, it's going to specify _start as the entry point to the kernel. So that's where our _start is, and it's going to run all this code. We're going to move stack.top to stack pointer below. We're going to call our kernel main, which will be in our kernel.c. We'll do a ctr, which clear interrupts. It disables interrupts. And the way we can do that is because we enabled it in our flags. Okay, so once boot.s is good, we're going to assemble it using this command here, using our cross compiler we made in the last video. So this will make a boot.o file, which we will use for later. Alright, moving on to kernel.c. So we're just going to include some headers, boolean, def, and int. In this second check here, if defined and then the compiler version, I forgot to put an exclamation mark. Yeah, but I basically catch on it later. Alright, this is a boring part. You can kind of copy it if you want. I'm basically, what I'm doing here is I'm defining the colors for our terminal. So in this case we're going to be using 16 colors. I could have probably used Vim to help, but oh well. There's going to be a lot of functions within kernel.c that just work together. Alright, moving on to color entry, or entry color. So we're going to take the entry of the foreground and the background, and we're just going to return the foreground ORed with the background, and that background is moved 4 times, or the bits of that is moved 4 in the direction to the left. Similarly, we're going to do the same with VGA entry, in which instead we return a 16-bit integer. we have to make our own string.length because we don't have it in our headers, so we'll just make it on our own. And now let us define the width and the height of our terminal. So this means we can only have 80 characters in any going across and 25 characters going downwards or upwards. Alright, we're going to initialize our terminal. So our pointer is going to be starting at 0, 0, and we're going to make every entry in the terminal black. So that's what this double for loop is going to do here. It's also going to fill up every character space with a space. So that double for loop will go through every entry in our terminal possible. Alright, a set color, so this is just terminal color is equal to color. Put entry at, so we're going to take a character and just put it at the X and Y position. Here's a put char. So given a character, we're just going to put in an entry. Terminal write. This is just the same, almost the same as just writing to the terminal. It's going to call put char multiple times for each character in the string given. And then write string, which is just going to call terminal write. And finally, our kernel main. Now this is the function that's going to be running. We're going to initialize our terminal, and then we are going to just write a test string hello kernel world /n. Alright, now we're going to compile it. So this line here is going to make a kernel.o file. Again, using our cross compiler. Just some general debugging. Still get the error, had a look. Forgot that. Cool. Now our last file that we're going to be making is the linker.ld. Alright, so it's going to be pretty small compared to the one that we just made. We're just going to define our start. So the bootloader will look at this image and start execution at the symbol designated as an entry point. And then we're going to define our sections. So to every program there's sections. You have data, you've got your stack, so on and so forth. So in an operating system we have the multi-boot, and in the multi-boot there's also going to be text. In the next bit we're going to have read-only data. So that's just RO data. Then the next bit of block, the data there is just going to be read-write. So we just .data. Again, so block.4k, that's we're assigning 4 kilobits for that block. And then the next bit is just going to be read-write data again, uninitialized, and the stack. So that'll be the .bss. Sweet. Alright, so now that we have our 3 files, we are going to generate the myOS.bin using the linker, which will link the boot.o and kernel.o that we just made. And there's also going to be a bunch of options here, so freestanding O2, no standard library, and then -l GCC. Of course, our 2 files. Okay, so this should make a myOS.bin file. So this is the myOS.bin is the kernel. So we don't need the files anymore. Cool. So now our bootloader is going to be grub. So we're going to make a config file for grub. We're just going to essentially tell it where the multi-boot is. So the multi-boot is going to be at /boot/myos.bin. So we haven't made the that directory yet, but we will. Right now, make directory iso boot/grub, and then we're going to move the myos.bin, which is the kernel, into that boot directory. And we're going to copy the same with the config file, grub config. And finally, the last command that we're going to run is the grub mkrescue the myos.iso, which is going to be our ISO image which we can boot from, and the directory it's going to be looking at is the ISO directory, the one that we just made. Awesome. So now we should have a ISO image in which we can boot from. So we can put this on a USB, and any computer that doesn't have an operating system, we can boot it, this operating system that we just made here from 3 files. So in this case, I'm just going to be testing the operating system with QEMU. It's essentially like VirtualBox, and you can boot this in VirtualBox or VMware if you want. And you see that's our terminal that we just wrote. A very simple terminal, but it works nonetheless. It doesn't respond to any key inputs because we just haven't implemented it. But yeah, that's essentially it. Quite nice.